This episode is brought to you by Criminal Guard. Criminal Guard isn't just a jiu-jitsu apparel company. They support gyms, schools, and organizations. They sponsor local athletes, helping them to chase their dreams. Who doesn't want to wear Al Capone while you're smothering and tapping out your friends? Support small business and support your local community. Go to criminalguardclothing.com and escape like a criminal. I'm here with Sean Robichaud from PDMA. Okay, did you want to start? Because you were in the middle of talking to me about something. Did you want to start with that?
We just had a whole,
whole
pre-podcast conversation.
Shit talking. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But we were talking about Fuel Hunt.
Yes.
And obviously, you're not necessarily affiliated, but you work with them.
Sure.
So how did that all come about?
So, the first I ever worked with Fuel Hunt was actually a little over a year ago now. So Drew hit me up on Instagram and just said like, hey man, let me back this up a little bit. I was at ADCC East Coast Trials 23. What year was that? 23? October? It was in October 23.
Yeah.
I was working at the We Defy Foundation booth. And it was like a super long, like 3 days. I was pretty much the only person working. I did have some help. So
yeah,
if you're out there, Sean and Jerry, thank you for coming to help for a little bit. But for the most part, I was there for my, I was like super tired, and Kelly and I got a hotel room, at Harrah's. We were staying, and then like Drew just hits me up, and I never really talked to him before, but whenever I would like post photos, I would tag the companies that were in it, not because I necessarily wanted attention from the companies, but just because I have had companies hit me up and be like, hey, can I use this photo?
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, if the company likes it, they can use it. Cool.
Which, pause, I should have started with the fact that you take photos.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. I guess this is a
know.
weird thing to back it up, but I'll give like the abbreviated version. I have an Instagram page. For a long time, it was simply martial arts photography.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little different now, but I'm sure we'll get into that. But that's how it started. So I was taking photos of people doing martial arts, hence the name. Dumbest name on the planet. But
I love it.
That's anyway. So where are we? I'm in this hotel room with my wife. I get a message from the Fuel Hunt account, and they were like, it turns out it was Drew. I didn't know it was Drew at the time. And he was like, hey man, Sean Brady and Nikki Rod are doing a seminar at Marquez. We're hosting it. And he said something like super nice. And if you know Drew, Drew's like the nicest dude in the world. So it's like not surprising, but he's like, I like paraphrase here, but I don't want to sound too weird. I don't know. He said something like we couldn't have a seminar in Philly without people doing martial arts there. And so my ego just went, whoa, through the roof. Oh yeah. I was like, I'm telling Kelly, I'm like, look at this. You can't have a jiu-jitsu seminar in Philly without me. Nikki Rod and Sean Brady are going to be there, but me, that's who we need. And so I go, Kelly's like, well, you have to do it. And I was like, absolutely have to do it.
Yeah.
He invited me to shoot. No, I didn't ask him for payment. I didn't ask for anything. I'm like, dude, opportunity's amazing.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
And this was like, you've met them a few times before this.
No, I had never met them.
Never met them.
Never met them. I
just
friends,
through Instagram.
Yeah, I was friends with like Amanda and Molly. So like they were on my radar. I was on their radar.
Yeah.
At least I think. There was one big issue though, and this is what I was telling you I wanted to say for the podcast. Drew doesn't know this. Sorry, Drew, if you're listening. I didn't own a camera at the time.
Huh.
So I would get like photographers and people messaging me all the time.
Yeah.
Hey man, what kind of camera do you use?
Yeah.
Hey man, what kind of camera do you use? Well, the reason I started people doing martial arts was because I was trying to get back into photography. I had been into it a little bit when I was younger. But Lightroom, the technology had just advanced so much.
Yeah.
I also didn't know there was such a thing as Lightroom Classic. I'm not going to go into that, but if you're a photographer out there, you know what I'm talking about. So I was like using the most updated version of Lightroom, but the technology had gone crazy. So I'm like, shoot, I need to relearn this.
Yeah.
I'll relearn it by taking pictures on my phone of my friends, and then editing on Lightroom. And I guess I learned how to do it.
So you were using your phone?
Just my phone, yeah. I had a Google.
And then you're just editing it to look good.
Yeah. I mean, the Google, I think I started with a Pixel 3. I can't remember if I had the Pixel 3 or the Pixel 5 when I started. I have the 7 now.
So are you saying you felt weird showing up with just yourself then?
I wasn't going to show up to a professional event with just myself. So I texted Drew yes, and I was just like, absolutely, I'll do it. But I didn't have a camera.
Yeah.
And I knew I wasn't going to show up with just my phone.
Yeah.
So luckily I know how to use cameras, like DSLR and mirrorless cameras, because I had learned when I was young. But I didn't own one. and I didn't exactly have the money to go out and like buy a brand new camera just
Right.
for like potentially one free photo shoot.
Yeah.
So I was like, shoot, what photographers do I know? And my friend Enrique, shout out Enrique, dude's a man, great photographer himself. He had mentioned to me, he's like, I think we started a conversation for that. He goes, what kind of camera do you use? And I was like, don't have a camera. And he's like, oh shoot, well if you ever need one. And I just remember being like, yo, do you remember the other day when you were like, if I ever need a camera?
Funny story.
Yeah, I go like, on this date, I need a camera. So that was like the thing I was gonna save, that I didn't own a camera.
That's crazy.
When I got my first photography gig.
So he let you borrow it for the day.
He let me borrow it for the day, and I was
That's
like, dude, I'll pay you. And Enrique, coolest dude in the world, is just like, no man, don't pay me, just borrow it, just borrow the camera, upload your photos, give me back the camera whenever you can.
So nice.
And yeah, and it was a Sony Alpha 7. Wait, Sony. What? I don't even know what kind of camera I have. Sony Alpha 7 IV.
Wait, you
Alpha
have
7 IV.
You have the same camera
So
now?
I bought that kind of camera
Oh.
because I had always shot Canon, and then I used that Sony, and it's probably because I was using old Canons, but I used that Sony and I was like, I love this.
Yeah.
So, but because of that Fuel Hunt shoot, I got booked a second shoot with Balance and Flow, which is they're like an organization out of like New York or New Jersey. I think they're New Jersey, like northern New Jersey. They put on good events.
Yeah.
And they were like, hey, do you want to come up and shoot this event? We'll pay you. And I'm like, yeah. In my head, I'm
still
like,
didn't have a camera.
Still don't have a camera. And it was like 2 weeks later or something like that. It was
Right.
shortly after, and I'm like, I still don't exactly have the money to buy a camera.
Right.
I hadn't been saving for a camera because I don't know, it just like wasn't on my thing.
Yeah.
But they paid me.
So what camera did you use that time?
I used Enrique's again.
Wow, he's a real one.
I think, I used Enrique's again. I like gave him back his camera, and then like 2 days later, I was like, yo, dude, let me borrow your camera again.
Just one more time.
And to his credit, Enrique was just like, yeah, man, here you go.
That's
Enjoy,
awesome.
like, have fun. Cool. Yes. So PDMA would not have happened without Enrique. So I think he's Enrique Reyes Photography on Instagram if you guys want to follow him.
That's awesome. It's a good friend.
Yes, a very good friend. But that's how literally my 2 first photography gigs.
And that was, you said 20 what? Ish?
22 that would have been.
So almost 3 years ago now.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So then how long after that did you decide, okay, I need to get a camera?
Very shortly.
Yeah.
I think I bought it no. Maybe this was last year? Was it? No, it had to be 2 years ago. Whenever I bought my camera, it was like, I think maybe this all happened like, I might get my dates wrong, but maybe it all happened like October or something like that. And I was like, well, Black Friday is going to be in November.
Right.
I'll just wait till November because electronics go on sale, and that way I can get like a camera and a lens and start actually taking pictures.
Yeah.
And it was funny because I bought it and I posted, I was like, hey, I finally have a camera, and people were like,
what are you talking
what?
about?
And they were like, you have a photography page and you do like paid photo shoots, and I'm like, yeah.
Because you were taking mostly pictures before this at like Balance and with your phone. I assume people knew there that you were using your phone. Right?
Yeah,
So it was more like outsiders that had no idea.
PDMA was never meant to be a public thing.
Yeah.
It started as, so I got hurt when I was training. We'll back it up now a little bit. I got hurt when I was training.
Yeah.
Maybe hurt my shoulder or rib or something like that. And
Yeah.
couldn't train for a couple weeks, but I always like, even when I'm injured, I like going to the gym. I like being around jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And Kelly wasn't training at this time, or she wasn't training as heavily. So I didn't just have an excuse to be there.
Yeah.
So I would go drill as much as I can. But when people were rolling, I still like to just be there and watch it. And plus jiu-jitsu social, like,
You just want to like be a part of.
that's where I hang out with my friends. Yeah. It's like, I'm either at jiu-jitsu hanging out with my friends or just in my apartment alone. Like, I mean, I have my wife, but like,
Small detail, Sean.
other than her. So I used to just take pictures, and I post on my personal Instagram. I post like 3 or 4 on my personal Instagram. And then people were like, why don't you just have a page where you do this? And I was like,
Yeah.
that's a good idea. I'll start like a private page, and that way I could just photo dump all this stuff
Yeah.
onto there. And I started the private page so that I could like, because I didn't want to like take a picture of my friend and then make it on a public thing. I don't know if they'd want to be on camera, whatever.
Yeah.
But at least this way, it's just only my friends that could see it. And then people were like, shortly after that, my friend Dom, who's actually in the first ever PDMA picture, he was like, hey dude, you need to go public with this. And he's like, other people need to see this.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, I'll check it out. And it hit. And, I didn't like start like rolling in dough immediately, but after a while, gyms were asking me to come to their gym and take pictures. And I didn't really have a problem showing up with a phone there because I would just be like, I don't have a camera. As long as like you're cool with these pictures,
Yeah,
and
they look
they'd be like, yeah, come just like let us use the pictures. And you can train for free. And that's like most of the deals that I did back then, especially were, I'm like, can I train at your gym for free for like 2 weeks? And they're like, yeah, go ahead.
You're like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
So were you just all self-taught? Like you just like Googled and YouTube?
A lot of Google, a lot of YouTube. So pre martial arts Sean, pre military Sean, I played in bands, and me and my friend Mike, we played in a lot of bands together when we were kids, and bands would always need photos and stuff, and we just kind of saw a need, so we were like, well, why don't we just buy a camera? So the first ever camera I owned, me and my friend Mike split. We drove to, we were on Craigslist, and we were like, okay, we sort of did some research, and we were like, I think we want like a Canon 5D maybe or something like that, but it was like a Mark II. It was like, I think I don't know what Canon Mark they're on now, but like for this camera. But Mark II was an early model.
Yeah.
Some dude was selling it, and we're pretty sure he was selling it for like drug money. I don't have any reason to believe it was stolen.
Okay.
But all I'm saying is that we drove to
Other than the serial number being scraped off.
yeah, and it's like broken
Well,
glass in the
besides
box. Other than that, I have no reason to believe this. No. But we found it on Craigslist, and we drove to like this sketchy part of Hamden, Connecticut. That's where I'm from, is Connecticut. We drove to this sketchy part of Hamden, Connecticut, which is like a town that like borders New Haven. And like we drove to a real sketchy part of town. And this guy was like, all right, I'll be outside. Like, I'll come outside. And he just came out with this camera. And we gave him cash. I have no idea how much we paid. And we were like, all right, cool. And then every photographer who is self-taught has this story. You take out the camera and you're so excited and you open it up, you put the battery in, put the SIM card or memory card in. You're like, oh, okay, cool. And then you take a picture and it's just black. And you're like, what? Like, what do I do here? And so we just went on YouTube. And I remember there was like this like 3-hour YouTube video. And it was this guy, he's like a professor at a college, and he just taped his lecture. And this was back in like 2010, 11-ish. So it's not like YouTube is today where you can find like classes on this stuff. It was still a little more rudimentary. So we watched this dude just on a whiteboard, this old guy talk about like aperture and like ISO and f-stops. And we're just sitting there, and my friend Mike and I were just sitting there literally taking notes on a piece of paper. And Mike is one of my best friends of all time. He's one of those guys that's just, he's annoying because he can just learn things quickly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know those people?
Yep.
Like he's just good at everything he tries. And I'm so not that. And so I remember Mike is like taking these awesome pictures, and I'm sitting there with my notepad like, which dial do I do again? And he's like, oh no, I got to figure it out. So that's like my whole first experience with a camera. But then it was like that, and then nothing for years.
So then you kind of paused for a while.
Yeah.
Just life.
Yeah. I pretty much paused like when I joined the military. I don't know why I didn't take photos in the military. Looking back, I'm like, I had some cool stuff to shoot. Like I probably should have, but
what did you do in the military?
I was active duty in the Air Force for 6 years. I tell people all the time I had the least Air Force job in the Air Force. I was working on like all like the ground vehicles and stuff like that. People don't even know the Air Force has like Humvees and MRAPs and stuff. Yeah. I'm not like a door kicker. I didn't do anything super cool. Like, very proud of the work I did. Very proud of the people I met. I met some of the coolest people I've ever met in my entire life. Obviously, while I was in, I got to do some really, really cool stuff. See some really, really cool things. But I think a lot of people, when they talk about their like, especially like us GWAT era guys, like more and more on social media, I see people trying to be like, yeah, like, you know, we were in Afghanistan and we were doing this mission and blah, blah, blah. Like, and they're trying to like be something they're not. So I just really always try to, like, it's okay. You can be most of the military, it's just like normal people. Like those, you know, the door kickers and stuff like that. Some of my best friends are door kickers. Love those guys. Favorite people on earth. It just wasn't what I did.
Yeah. Where were you?
I was stationed in everybody in the Air Force starts in San Antonio. I was there for a while. My first duty station, it was awesome. It was Port Hueneme, California, and then which is a Navy base. But my tech school was there, and we were there for a while. And I don't know if you know what a Navy CB is. It's like the Navy's like construction, like sort of like their combat engineer kind of thing. And we were basically the Air Force version of that.
Right.
The Air Force does it a little differently, but we were that. So we all go to like the same school
to
learn the stuff, and then we kind of disperse into our own things. But getting to where we're at today, the way I got to this part of the country was my last duty station was McGuire Air Force Base in New Jersey, which is attached to Fort Dix.
I see.
Big, giant base. It's a pretty busy base. And so that was I was there for a couple of years. That's how I met Kelly. That's how I got involved in jiu-jitsu in Philly.
She was up there?
She was actually in Philly.
Oh, she was.
But you know this, you're from New Jersey. South, like Jersey and like middle of New Jersey.
It's all
not a lot to do. So you find yourself in Philly a lot, especially when you're a young single dude.
Oh, you met her in Philly out or something?
I was on Tinder. We met on Tinder.
Oh,
yeah.
I never really knew the story.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense because you're from Connecticut and then you went all over the place and then back in Philly.
Back in Philly.
Interesting. Yeah. But you weren't living in Philly until you met her then.
I didn't move to Philly till a couple years ago. We moved in before we got married, but yes, I was living in Jersey, a couple different places. But when I met her, my friend owned a house, and this is probably pretty boring to your viewers, but my friend owned a house basically in like out like towards Cherry Hill, in like Blackwood, and I was living in his basement. So I was like not far from Philly, you know.
Wow, so Tinder works, guys.
It does.
Look at that.
At
least back then. What year was that?
6 years ago, whatever year that was, yeah.
But I do feel like it's gotten worse.
I wouldn't know. And if
you.
I did, I wouldn't say anything.
Yeah,
No,
let me turn the mic off.
yeah. No,
Did we finish the Fuel Hunt story? So that's how you got involved with them. But then now, what do you do for them? You're still shooting for them?
I shoot for them on occasion. Yeah, they hire me on occasion. They're super nice. They're super generous. I love Joey and Drew. Yes, they've been on this podcast. Great guys. Was just at the warehouse yesterday. They have done a great job of fostering a community. And if you ask both of them what they're most proud of, it's always like the community they've built. And I could not agree more. I'm trying to emulate that in a bunch of different ways.
Yeah, I do. There are a lot of similarities community-wise.
Yeah. We're both very big on like.
Yeah.
I want like a good community of good people that are like-minded, basically.
Yeah. I feel like when they were on here, we talked about that. Like, not that this is the reason you do it, but it's like when you form a community, it's like it grows quicker than if you're just like selling a product,
exactly,
or a service.
Exactly.
Like if you're selling something people just want to be a part of, I just feel like it flourishes a little bit easier.
A lot less money in it though. But no,
yeah,
just kidding.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. But you look at Fuel Hunt, and they've done a great job of.
Yeah.
They built a community, and they're selling a product, and it's just everybody can win. You know what I mean? It might take a little extra work. You may have to go the long way around, but everybody can win. Yeah. Like, it's cool. Like, I'm very big on like the whole rising tide floats all ships mentality. Always have been. I don't say always. When I was younger, I was not exactly the smartest person when I was younger. Not that I'm the smartest person now, but a little smarter than I was. But I'm very, very big into that rising tide floats all ships mentality. Yeah. I love helping people that want to do what I do. Even though I do like a bazillion things now, any of them. Yeah. But and actually, this is a really good story. If I want to put the cap on the Fuel Hunt stuff, Drew really showed me like a really good example of that. And because of something Drew said to me like a little while ago, my brain has not stopped thinking about it. So, and I think I've like formulated this like philosophy, and I'm not a philosopher, so might be a little rough. But so Drew, I was like. Thinking about putting on some rash guards with my brand. Yeah. And so I'm like, Drew may have even like approached me about it. He's like, yo, you ever gonna do rash guards or whatever? And I thought, yeah, he did, because I thought he was gonna like offer his services.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that'd be great.
Yeah.
But Drew went to me and he goes, oh no, I'm gonna put you in a group chat with our rash guard manufacturer. He was willing to cut himself out of the deal, not make any money, and just introduce me
to where he gets his stuff made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is the most baller thing I've ever heard in my entire life. It's true. Like,
yeah, because you would think that he would just like make a Fuel Hunt rash guard and slap PDMA on it.
And he could have made money off me like that. I would have done it. Like but instead he was like, no, he's like, I'll put you in, and he put me in a group chat, and he's like, sent this super nice message to the owner of the company. And so I'm in a group chat with the owner of this company, and he's like, hey, this is my friend Sean, like he's awesome, like hook him up, everything. And I'm like, yo. So that got got the gears turning, and I'm like, huh. So sometimes when people approach me and ask me to help them with things, which happens pretty often, and I think people are kind of disappointed because I'm not like an expert in anything, but people, you know how it is. People always ask you things.
Yeah.
And sometimes like, I don't know. Sometimes a good thing to do is, and it's definitely not all the time, but I think do a move like what Drew did. sometimes I will give somebody every step of the way. Actually, perfect example. You've asked me for help on stuff.
A lot of help,
yeah.
actually.
And I love giving somebody like you help because I know if I give you help, you're going to turn around and then do the thing and then probably take it farther. Like a good example of that is like, you were asking me a long time ago about editing and you were like, what editing software should I get? And I was like, oh, just download CapCut. It's like, it's cheap. It's easy to learn on, it's a really good thing. And then like, I told you to download CapCut. I gave you like the basics. And then next thing I know, like you're putting out reels, you're doing this. And I'm like, but that's what I want.
Yeah.
And so in my opinion, when you do that, two outcomes can happen. You can, that outcome could happen where I give you the tools and then you go do it. And that's awesome because now that's somebody that I want to be working with. Mm-hmm. So like you're winning, I'm winning, we're all winning. Even if we're doing the same thing, like you've proved to me that like, oh, you're somebody I want to collaborate with and you're somebody I want to do stuff. And I might need something from you one day.
Right.
Or the other option is you're going to give them, I can give you everything. Like I can give you a step-by-step on how to do PDMA. Most people aren't going to do it.
Yeah, that is the truth. Most people are, and not to like make it about my experience, but I'm going to. I've had people reach out and be like, oh, I want to do a podcast, or I am doing a podcast. I already bought stuff to do a podcast or whatever. And I'm like, you should do it. It's amazing. And I notice like I never see them do it. And I'm not judging because I have started so many hobbies and not finished.
Goodness. You're looking at the king of it.
But that's the thing. It's like there's really no risk in helping somebody because they're either going to do it or they're not. And they're not going to be competition to you. You could just work together. Like look at us. Like we're literally collaborating together now.
Yeah.
And before CapCut, I was literally using, what was I using? Oh, I was using iMovie.
Yeah.
So thank you because you really saved my life.
A little step up.
I didn't even know what CapCut was. Actually, full circle, somebody from Web, he is making videos now for he's a lender at a bank, so it's not even jiu-jitsu related, but he's making jiu-jitsu videos to like tie in his promotion. And so he started posting these videos and I was like, you should just add words to it. And he was like, I don't know how to do that. And I'm like, CapCut.
There you go.
And I actually made one for him real quick because
cool.
It takes like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And he was like, this is amazing. And I was like, oh, this does feel nice. Like we're all just helping each other in the community. And
that's
30 seconds.
Yeah. And that's the thing is that like, I don't like this, the whole like famine mentality of like, no, I have to keep all my secrets like closely guarded.
Yeah.
There is of course like the other side of the coin of what we're talking to though, because sometimes people just like, they want you to do it for them.
Yeah, that's different.
And you have to let people learn. And I had a guy approach me one time. It's a guy I know comes up to me and it was the most arrogant thing I have ever heard in my entire life, which is the only reason I'm not saying his name. But he came up to me and he wanted to sell t-shirts along with his brand. And I had just released my website where I'm selling t-shirts. And he was like, hey, can you help me out? And I was like, of course, help you out, no problem. Well, then he comes to me and he goes, literally just at the gym one day, goes, okay, so here's what we're going to do. One day, you and I, we're going to get coffee. And he's like, we're going to book off a couple hours. And you're just going to walk me through every step you did to make your, and like, not like, hey, will you? It was like we're going to. And I was like,
no,
we're done.
Like, oh my God, I don't drink coffee anymore. And I'm busy. So weird.
Yeah. Believe it or not, I don't have just a couple hours of like life. And it literally, made
social awareness.
Dude, it made me so mad because one of the things that I did to learn how to make my merch website was I was driving to Connecticut. I had a 3.5 hour drive. I found a 3.5 hour long video on how to make a merchandise website, all the different options you can do.
Yeah.
And I just let that thing play my whole entire write up. And that's like part of the research, but I put a lot of work.
Yeah, like try. Like there's nothing wrong with looking for help to fill in the blanks. Like with you, like, and I know you don't mind, but I felt bad even asking you and Stefan at the time. Like I literally felt bad like annoying you with like I had like a million microphone questions. But it's because like I literally knew nothing and I was so scared to like invest in the wrong thing. But then once you gave me like a couple tips, like then I like researched how to do it. I YouTubed how to like put it all together. I wasn't like, can you come over and like do every single thing for me and record every single podcast I ever do moving forward? Like that's crazy.
Yes. And that was, and that mentality is like, well, I don't want to, because I just don't see you getting successful if that's your mentality. And I'm not like,
me to do it.
I'm not some beacon of success over here. Don't get me wrong. I'm not like people much more successful than me, but in the little success I've been fortunate enough to have, like you do have to just do it. And we were just talking about this before the show started. Like when you started, you had a camera, you had a phone camera and a couple little tiny mics.
Yeah,
and
$20 mics.
Yeah, but it's like you started. And that was enough. That's like when you started to come ask me questions. Well, that was enough for me to be like, well, she's doing it. That's, you know.
Yeah, like set your ego aside, You don't have to have, like, actually I had a couple friends say to me like, oh, I can never start the way you started. And I was like, why? And they were like, it would have to be all or none is the way they phrased it. Like, it would have to be top of the line or I'm not doing it. And I was like, you'll never ever do anything great by that mentality because it's not possible.
We used to
start that way.
Get that all the time with music. Guys would come in with like these like, and we were 18 years old, and guys would come in with like $4,000 worth of guitar, and like, man, some of the best musicians I know would show up with like a Fender Squier that their grandma got them, you know, kit with a little amp, like, you know what I mean? And but it's just like the equipment. I'm a gear guy. Don't get me wrong. Like, I love cool gear and everything I do, whether it's like camera stuff. Actually, I hate camera gear. That's I don't know why I just said that. I hate camera gear. I like gear and like everything else I do though. Yeah. Like, you know, I like to hike, I like to hunt, I like firearms, like I like all that stuff. I'll get down in the nitty gritty with that kind of stuff. I don't know why I hate camera gear so much. But my point is, like, that stuff's all great and that stuff's all cool to have.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing with, I'm working, we'll get into this. I have a digital marketing company. One of my clients right now is a firearms instructor, and he's got a bunch of cool stuff. But like, if you're going to learn how to use a firearm, you know, you don't need like a Gucci Glock, you know what I mean? Like, right. you can, like, you don't need like with all the attachments and everything. And some people just get into that mentality of like, right. Oh no, I'm gonna build this, and I'm gonna, with anything, not just firearms, but like, dude, you can go get, like, if you want to learn how to shoot a rifle, you can go buy like a Smith & Wesson, you know, just something cheap, something affordable, and just use that money that you would have used on your Gucci, you know, whatever, Daniel Defense or whatever, and put that money into ammo, put that money into range time, put that money into classes.
You don't need a $2,000 Beretta to start your gun collection. Yeah, exactly.
And like learning how to use your implement first. So you learned how to do a podcast with a phone and a couple mics. I learned how to do photography with a phone and
crawl before you walk.
Yeah.
And then walk before you run.
There we go.
Also, like, I do feel like there's something to like earning the next thing you do. Like, okay, maybe if you just like made of money, like do whatever you want. But I feel good about the fact that I felt like I earned the right to go buy like nicer microphones because I proved to myself that this was going to be a continuous thing. You know what I mean? So rather than just buying like $500-$600 worth of equipment, and then what if like after a week I was like, fuck this sucks. Nobody's listening to me.
Well, like,
I don't know.
I've told you, like, you know, the things I've shot. Like, I've shot professional level stuff. You know, I'm not like bragging. Here's just a fact of what I've done. I just bought my first light, like professional lighting before I came here. It's like, but I've been using, like, you can just make things work. And I'm not saying like everything I shoot's perfect, you know, but I've gotten away with it this far. Not gotten away with it, but like I've gotten by since this. You know. So.
And I think the reason we've gotten by is because of the community. Like, it's kind of crazy how willing people are to help you if you approach them in the right way. Kind of like you were saying. Like, if I would have approached Drew and Joey from Fuel Hunt.
This is all just a big advertisement for Fuel Hunt, by the way. This is not even a podcast. This is just go buy Fuel Hunt stuff.
Or even Fion.
Yes,
If I would have said, like, okay, here's what we're going to do. You're going to show up at my house.
Right.
And we're going to do an hour-and-a-half podcast, and you're going to repost it for me. I think they would have been like, go fuck yourself.
Absolutely. And rightfully so.
Instead, I was like, please help me. No, but they were like so nice. Like, I didn't even think they would drive. I live in the middle of freaking nowhere. Like, the fact that they took time out of their day to come here, like, that will always be in the back of my head. You know, if and when this does flourish, I will definitely remember that they helped me when they didn't need to.
And that's what I love is, like, I've had so much. I mean, we're doing it right now. Like, you help me out, I help you out, you help, like, and not just me and you, but like our little community. And when I say little community, I don't mean to sound like we're like sheltering off from others. Like, my community is anybody who has this mindset. My community is anybody who's like willing to show up. My community, I'm sure you feel the same way. Like, our community isn't just like a closed off circle of somebody who wants to come and work hard at whatever they're doing. And I really hate when people talk about hard work. Like, I just like, it's just so cringy most of the time, but it's true. So, at risk of sounding like a Fuel Hunt t-shirt, I like when people
have grit, no glory, whatever it is.
I love you guys, but I mean, read a paragraph about what an eagle would do if it had a photography company. Sorry, I'm done. I gotta shoot them down a little bit. I can't just be all praise. Yeah, it's like, and now we're looking for new sponsors. Anyway, so but like our circle is like anybody who's gonna prove that, and I don't care what you're doing. Like you know, Kelly, we keep talking about her, my wife. Like, she is one of the hardest working people I've ever met in my entire life, but she's doing science. You know what I mean? And like, I mean, she's also lifting and doing jiu-jitsu, and Kelly doesn't have an off switch, but and she's also one of those people that's annoyingly good at whatever she does. I gotta be careful here. I hate that she's like that, but I love that she's like that too. But man, it's really difficult to live with somebody who's just good at things. My whole life is trying to keep up. Yeah, like this is my best childhood friend was like that, and then I'm like, all right, well, I'm gone, whatever, and I meat my wife, and she's like that. So, yeah, no, it's great. Anyway, yes, but the whole put like a little bow on this part of the conversation. I like having people, like-minded people around. Doesn't mean like-minded politically. Doesn't mean like-minded. You don't even have to like jiu-jitsu. You don't have to like whatever. But as long as you are trying to be the best at whatever you're trying to do, it's pretty easy for me to be friends with you, help you out if you need it. You know, because also I'm gonna need your help on stuff.
That's the thing, right? I was gonna add, like, not that you helped me because you wanted something back. I know that. But I feel like people, it's just like, to me, it's common sense. Like the example you gave with him being like, let's get coffee. It's like, I'm always, whenever you help me, I'm always at least trying to think like, how can I help you or how can we help each other? I would feel terrible to just keep taking and taking and taking. It's like, I'm not in a position where I can help you a ton. But even by saying, you know, can we collaborate? Can we do something like that? At least I'm attempting.
But you're having me on your show.
Yeah,
like that's cool. I love being here.
Speaking of collaborating.
Good segue. That's why you are the podcast person. And I talk alone in my back room to a camera.
Doing great. So Sean and I collaborated on some clothing items coming out Black Friday, which I don't know if this will come out before or after then. We'll see. I'm going to try to get it out before though. But I reached out to him and just kind of said, can we collab? Because I knew he already had like clothing that you were putting out and you already kind of knew how to go about it. So I was like, why me like start when he already has a good thing going? And I already liked his design. So we just kind of merged our worlds and created a PDMA Jits and Giggles baby.
Yeah. And we dropped the preview on Instagram last week to a pretty good reception. I was very happy. Shout out to Vincent Avila, the guy who made the logo. He's awesome. I keep joking whenever I post this stuff. I'm always like, hire him before you can't afford him. But I'm kind of getting serious now. Like, Vincent's the man. Hire him before you can't afford him.
I was like, hi, help me, please.
That dude's awesome. I've never actually even met him, but we've just corresponded.
How did you find him? Through Fuel Hunt.
Yeah. Sorry, we keep talking about that. This is
like,
sponsored by...
The way you paused, I was like, can I
No, I'm kidding. I was actually just trying to think if I think Drew had actually just posted something of his, and I was like, that guy has a cool thing. And then,
that's right. He does have a lot of their stuff.
And then I went on their website, and I was like, oh, he does all Fuel Hunt stuff.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, but
I like his stuff.
Yeah, very cool. Very easy to work with. Super easy to work with guy. Very talented.
Yeah. So we have some shirts, some crew necks, beanies, ornaments.
Christmas. I'm like stoked on the Christmas.
I know. I'm excited because it's perfect timing.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there anything else? I think that was
it.
Yeah. And we're going to drop the price a little for Black Friday.
Probably a couple days after.
Yeah.
And then,
like
the price is going up $300 per shirt.
So get it while you can afford it.
Get that, get Vincent, and get a t-shirt while you can afford it.
But it's just, and like, we're not even trying to make money off of that. It's more like we talked about, like, I was like, if I break even, that'd be great. But I'm just excited. One, obviously marketing, it's great for us. And it's just cool to see people in our circle just wearing our stuff. It's like awesome.
Funny, that's how I approach all of my merch. So I can get into this a little bit, but when I do merch, I always look at it. I'm not trying to be a merch company, but I really like making merch.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. And so I always approach it where like, I've had designs where I didn't break even. And it's okay. I mean, they're still up on the site, so hey, pdmastore.com if you want to help out with that. But actually, just go on Black Friday because then the Jits and Giggles merch will be there. But so yeah, but it's so much fun. Like I really like, and these days, like if you have a business and you're not making merch, like maybe you just don't want to, and that's fine. But like if you even kind of want to, it's not hard.
No.
You know what I mean? You can hire somebody to make the merch. You have many options of like how you want to source your blanks, how you want to print your stuff. There's so many options out there.
Free marketing.
And yeah, well, it's not free, but it's a low investment marketing. It is low investment marketing.
Speaking of marketing.
Segue queen over here.
So you were saying to me off camera that kind of just came about.
Mm-hmm.
So how did it come about?
Okay, so what you have to understand is everything I have ever done well every piece of success I've ever had is completely by accident. I have stumbled into more success. I'm the luckiest human being on the face of the planet. And I genuinely feel that way. I don't know. Like, so, okay. So here's realistically how it came out.
Yes.
I'm doing all this stuff with photography, videography. As you know, if you see my page, which I do want to kind of touch on something we were talking about. Like, I mentioned this in a reel I put out recently. My page doesn't have a ton of viewers, but my page doesn't have a ton of followers. But I have like crazy interaction, like engagement percentage.
Yeah.
So I just want to say thank you to everybody who is part of our community, and it just goes back to the community thing we were talking about. Because sometimes I tell people, I'm like, yeah, I have this like page that consumes like my whole entire life, and they're like, you have 1,300 followers, and I'm like,
the followers I've learned too don't.
It's less.
It doesn't reflect really anything.
It means less and less.
Yeah.
It's good to have, but it's especially from a marketing standpoint, which we're about to talk about, digital marketing wise. Like, it's not telling you don't go seek out followers, but it's it.
Yeah, it's not the end all be all.
It means less and less. But anyway, so the marketing thing happened because when I left the military, Kelly was actually the one that told me, she's like, you should go for your MBA because you don't know anything about how the civilian world works. And she's like, an MBA is like a good, like, it'll give you like a broad spectrum kind of look at all aspects of business. And then she's like, then you can decide what you want to go into. And I was like, that's a really, really good idea. It's almost like my wife said, genius. Scientist lady, you know. That's
so $100,000 later.
Yeah. No, the government.
Oh, that's right. You 100%.
Yeah, dude.
I'm so
you
jealous.
think I did all that crap for? No, I'm just kidding.
As a fellow MBA person, I'm.
Well, if you want to give the government 6 years of your life, 6 years of your 20s,
No
you know,
problem.
it's, and I only gave 6 years. I gave nothing compared to what some people give.
Yeah, no, that's awesome though.
6 years, all my limbs intact.
Good for you.
Free school. But that's not why I did it. It's part of it. No, I'm just kidding. I actually didn't really think about that before I went in. But so I went and got my MBA and 2-year program at Temple. And while I was doing it, I had a really great marketing class. I think it was maybe my first semester. Really got along well with my marketing teacher. I was looking for a job where I could be creative. I'm just a naturally creative person. My whole life, like I said, I played music, photography, always trying to be creative. And I was like, well, I need to be creative in my job. Doesn't matter what I do. I can make coffee. I could do it. I just need to be creative. And then as I got into this marketing thing, I talked to my marketing professor and was like, hey, man, this is kind of what I'm looking for. You think marketing is the route for me? And he was like, yeah, like go into marketing.
Yeah.
And because it's a good balance of, and there's different kinds of marketing. And I'll get more specific in a minute, but you can be creative. Like for my instance, I do a lot of, content creation. Love it. But then there's a huge back end of like numbers and analytics, which I don't necessarily love, but it's a love-hate thing. I don't love numbers. I don't love everything, but I really like doing some of the analysis stuff much more than I thought I ever would.
Right.
And that's the part that most people don't like to do. You shouldn't be surprised. I don't think anybody would be surprised that like most people don't like just sitting there and like crunching numbers.
That's my whole job.
Yeah.
That's
I
literally
forgot
what
you work in
I
marketing.
do marketing analytics.
Yeah. So like
So as you're talking, I'm like,
yes, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, there's like a whole giant boring side to marketing that a lot of people don't know. And I think my competitive advantage kind of has been that I understand that side of things. Probably not as well as you, but I have an understanding of it.
No, but even if you don't enjoy it, like totally helps if you can comprehend it.
Yeah. So anyway, so I'm doing that, and then Temple was like, "Oh, hey, you're on the GI Bill. You want to go? You have basically one more year left. Like, you want to throw a second master's degree in there? We just opened a master's of digital marketing." And I was like, "Yeah, do it."
Oh, you did that as well. I didn't know that.
I'm doing that right now.
Oh, you're doing it right now. Yeah. So you just graduated with your MBA
in May,
and now this is a what is it now?
Like MS digital marketing.
Cool. Yeah. Good for you.
Very cool. Really good program. A lot of good professors. And good network of people. So I'm learning some stuff in school, but to be completely honest with you, like most stuff I've just learned on the job.
Is it online?
It's
Where
like
are you going?
I guess it's like hybrid.
So you're going into school sometimes?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's a lot.
Which I love. Like I
did the same. Yeah.
I want to be in a building with people.
Yeah.
Like that's much. Actually, a lot of people in my MBA program didn't like that, but the MBA program was like all in person.
Yeah. No, I specifically asked for MBA in person, which was a pain in the ass to drive there. But I was like, if it's online, I'm going to lose interest in like 0.2 seconds.
And like you miss out on so much. Like
networking.
An MBA is a networking degree. That's what it's for. You're not really learning anything like groundbreaking. You're networking with people. And in order to network with people, you don't have to be in person, but man, it helps.
Sure
like,
helps.
Because you know what helps is like the 15 minutes before class, the 15 minutes after class, okay, you're chatting after class about something. Hey, you guys want to grab coffee and we can work on and then that doesn't happen in the online classes.
Right.
And you can make it happen to an extent, but it's just a lot more organic in person. So, go to school. I don't know. I guess this is what we're talking about. Anyway, been in school for that. Simultaneously doing the PDMA stuff. As you know, PDMA kind of changed. I mentioned earlier, it started like as just photography, started doing some videography. And actually, let me declare this on this podcast. I was going to say it's exclusive, but I just said it in a reel the other day. But I think like 7 people watched it.
I was one of them.
And yeah. PDMA, if you go to @PeopleDoingMartialArts on Instagram, what you're seeing is just me doing whatever the expletive I want.
Say it.
Yeah, it's me doing whatever the fuck I want. It does not matter to me if I get 4 likes on a photo. It doesn't matter to me. Like it's cool when things blow up, and I've had some YouTube videos do well. I've had some reels do well. Cool, that's awesome. Love it. But it's awesome because like it just helps me interact with more people. I don't care. I'm doing it because this is the content I want to be putting out. It's what I want to make.
You enjoy it.
The page was private. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not. So it's funny because people will come to me in good, like,
faith.
Good faith. Yeah, good faith, and be like, hey, man, to grow your page, you should do X, Y, and Z. And it just got really frustrating because I'm like, I grow other people's pages.
Right.
I
like,
know what I need to do. They didn't know that, but they didn't know that I
get
did
that, though.
But like PDMA is not meant. It's not. I'll put it in marketing terms. It's not optimized for growth. It's optimized to be very fun for me.
Yeah.
It's literally optimized for me. And if everybody unfollowed me, like whatever, and like you and Keller were the only people following me, I'd still be putting it out. Like, you know what I mean? Like I just love doing it. How that spins into the marketing was I was making all that content, and you do something enough, you get kind of good at it. So I started getting hired more to make people content. And I started like putting myself out there a little bit. Reaching out to people saying like, hey, I can do this. I was getting hired by gyms anyway to like do photo shoots and stuff like, you know, shoot seminars, shoot promotions. I was doing a lot of that. But when I was there, I would do the photos and then I would kind of do a little video, turn that into short form content. People like that. So I'm like, okay, what's the next step? Eventually, I just started telling people I had a marketing company because I'm like, well, shoot, I'm going to school for this. Yeah. And it's been a big like fake it till you make it kind of thing. I'm legit now. So if you're hiring me, and
you're doing mostly just social media marketing, right?
I'm doing a lot of social media marketing, but I'm actually doing more than that. So, which is why you brought this up. But I've just been rambling. So I recently made @PDMA marketing on Instagram, or @PDMA digital marketing on Instagram, if you know my own stuff. Because I do more than just content and social media. And while my strength is definitely in like social media management, social media marketing, content creation, that kind of stuff, I've been doing more for stuff. I've been delving into like, you know, like SEO and like I said,
cool.
a lot of the back end analytics is like really where I've been able to make a difference in people's businesses, and people see it. And I basically, when I talk to a business, I just get a whole bunch of numbers. They might not even understand why I'm getting these numbers, but I'm like, guys, just give me all these numbers.
Yeah.
We'll run a campaign. I'll run the numbers. And it's great because then I can show them like, oh, hey, this stuff you're paying me to do, it's like, it's worth your investment.
Right.
So at minimum, that's, you know, that's been something that I've been like, oh, this is why I should get these numbers to prove to them that I'm worth their investment. As I started doing more of the analytics and being like, oh, I can learn other things from these numbers. So I've kind of developed this relationship with numbers, which is hilarious because if you knew me in high school and like I was not a math guy.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask you, so like, do you find as far as the social media aspect, like, is it hard to keep up? Because I feel like it's changing so quickly, and I feel like the people that are best at it are teenagers. So like, how are you keeping up with trends, or are you not even like
No, I do that.
getting into that kind of crap?
So what people I think need to realize about social media marketing is that different sorry. You need to define your goals. So if you just come to me and you're like, I want to have the biggest Instagram in the world, like we talked with Rick about, like Ricardo McLaurice, former guest of this podcast, my jiu-jitsu coach, great with Instagram. He knows how to grow an Instagram page. His goal is to have a big Instagram page. And that's what he does.
And he does good.
But let's say, so I work with gyms. Actually, I just signed on to, I guess I can say their name. They didn't tell me not to. Movement Art. Danny and Nick, actually, I'm the marketing guy, so go to movementartjujitsu.com. Actually, it's a fantastic gym. I only work right now, and I hope this doesn't change, I only work for businesses that I really like their product. Like, like
Yeah,
right
it'd be
now.
hard to sell it if you hate it.
Yes. And I have that luxury because I have a bit of a demand, not like trying to brag or anything like that, but like I turn people down,
Yeah.
I have to really like your product. And I really like Moving Art's product. And they're doing a project right now. We're doing a marketing project with them. They're in Warminster, Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't help if I build them this huge Instagram that some guy in Missouri sees.
Right.
It's not going to help them bring in
totally
students.
get
You know
that.
what I mean? And so with the social media marketing, like I think some people get so fixated. I'm just going to grow this page. Time and place for that. Like the Jake Pauls of the world are good at that, But if you're trying to market your business, I don't care if you have a company that, if you sell stuff online, you're going to want a little
That's
broader of a
different,
thing.
yeah.
If you're a local business, you're going to want a little bit of a thing. If you're trying to be an influencer, you're going to want a specific type of growth. And that's kind of that's actually, glad we're talking about this. That was the first thing I was able to help people with when I started doing analytics for stuff. Now I kind of, like I said, I'm delving into a little outside of just the social media, but make no qualms about it. My strength is content marketing and strategy. So that's why I started the PDMA digital marketing page, was because I was doing this for people already.
Yeah, so why not?
And I had money coming in and I said, oh, I can make this my full-time job.
Yeah.
Like I could work for myself, which has always been a goal of mine. Like even before the military,
Yeah.
and then the military, you work for the biggest bureaucracy in the world and you go, well, I'm never working for one of these again. That's why there are so many veteran business owners, because we've seen like how bad a bureaucracy can get. And you're just like, I'm doing all this by myself. I would much rather make a little less money, or a lot less money, doing what I like to do for myself than just work for some dude. And there's nothing wrong with working for a company. There's great companies out there. Like somebody has to run great companies. And it's just, for me personally, I've always known it's just not going to work for me.
I've been the same way. My undergrad literally was in entrepreneurship.
There you go. Yeah.
But then I worked for companies for the past 10 years, and I'm like, this was not the goal. But my thing was, I just never knew what I wanted to do.
Sure.
And kind of like you're saying with PDMA, I feel like the podcast, like you kind of use PDMA as a vessel to do all these other things you want to do, like marketing.
Yes.
That's kind of how I view the podcast. Like, do I think the podcast is going to be Joe Rogan? I would love that. But I more so look at it as a vessel for opportunities to get more involved in the community and hopefully pick up different types of opportunities, Anyway, just had to throw that in there.
Well, you're doing what you're doing. We're doing the same thing. Like,
honestly.
I want to provide people value, not so that they'll give me something back in return, but people like you and me, I'm sorry if I'm like, this is not insulting. I have no envision of being a jiu-jitsu world champion. I don't think you do either.
No, I'm not offended.
But I want to. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Like wow.
Like I don't know. Maybe you do. But we know people that are legitimate. That are world champions, or that want, like, that are on that path. Mm-hmm. And I just knew right away, like, I love training. I love, it's my whole entire life. I mean, my page is called People Doing Martial Arts. Like, but
well, I knew when I started jiu-jitsu at 31 that was
Sam, I was a little late to the game too.
I was like, it's out.
Yeah, and anyway, so like, but like that's how we give back to the community, and that's our way to be involved in the community. And my point, you're using the podcast as a vessel. I'm using what I do as the vessel.
Yeah.
But it's not like we're like only doing this to get things. You know what I mean? Like, we're trying to provide value to the community.
Yeah, it's fun.
This is how you and I do it. Like, this is.
Well, that's, I think, why we are being successful, is because we genuinely like what we're doing. I think if our only goal was to make money, we would fail like almost immediately, because we would probably hate it.
Yeah,
but I
don't
think
get into this for money.
right. Like for me, I'm like, I already have my job, and I'm like, this is just fun.
Yeah.
If it makes money, bonus. But I just enjoy being able to like go to the gym and people be like, oh my God, I loved the person you had on the podcast, and having a conversation, and just, it's just fun to me.
Yeah.
And same for you. Like the marketing now is making you money. But I think when you originally started PDMA, it was like you said, it was just, you enjoyed it. It was for yourself.
And that's why I'm still doing it. Like that's what I said in that video. I keep talking about this video. It's the only post on PDMA.digitalmarketing right now, so you can see it if you want. But it's PDMA is not going anywhere. And that's actually why I started the page for the marketing thing, was because I was starting to kind of like talk about the digital marketing thing on People Doing Martial Arts, and it just, something about it didn't feel right.
Right.
Well, one, because I serve clients that are not just in the martial arts world too. Like I work,
right.
You know what I mean? And so it's kind of weird if they're like, what's the name of your company? And it's like, it's People Doing Martial Arts. Now, the name of my company is PDMA.
Yeah.
So it's like, but nobody's going to ask what it stands for. And if they do, whatever. My invoices actually say People Do Martial Arts on them.
I mean, I'm Jits and Giggles, and I have people on that.
Yeah, yeah.
Jiu-jitsu people.
Yeah, exactly. But I started doing like the digital marketing thing kind of started making its way onto people doing martial arts, and it just didn't feel. I was like, this isn't the place for it.
Yep.
I do need to kind of separate, make it its own thing.
Yeah.
Which frees me up to do what I want, more of what I want on people doing martial arts, and then it frees me up to do my boring business stuff on the PDMA Instagram or whatever.
Keeps it organized.
Yeah. So that is actually, we kind of talked about this off air, but I said I work for non-martial arts based companies. The one guy I'm working for right now, and I'm just going to plug the business I'm working for because, hey, they're paying me, and you could too. But it's called ATAC, Advanced Tactical. It's a guy that I met when I was in the military. You meet a lot of people, obviously, when you're in there. And I was doing a combatives instructor course, and there was this dude that was in the course, this ranger guy, and he was like, at lunchtime was like beating up all the instructors, and I literally was just like, what do you do, dude? Like, what? Like, why?
Yeah.
Like, what do you do? He's like, oh, I'm a purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And it was literally, that class ended on a Friday. Monday, I was at Balance. And I was like, I need to sign up. I need to do Jiu-Jitsu. Like,
crazy.
Because I just saw this guy. So, like, it was wild. So as it turns out, like, he's from this area of the country, which, I don't know, you're in the military, you meet people from everywhere.
Yeah, you don't know.
Yeah, you have no idea. Like, and one of my instructors at Balance was wearing, this guy had the company that I'm working for now at the time, or the company that I'm doing marketing work for now, this one of my instructors had the hoodie on for this company, and I was like, I know that brand.
Yeah.
I was like, I know that dude. And then he's like, he lives like in Delco, and I was like, what? I just some random dude when I was in the military.
And you met him in where? Like, what state was that?
Oh, it was in New Jersey, but it was on the base in New Jersey. Yeah,
right.
yeah. Like,
but
so
still, yeah.
I was working on the base. Like, I mean, there's people. You go to any military base, and there's people from
all over
the United
right.
States.
So
you know,
you don't know. Yeah.
You have no idea where anybody's from.
Yeah, so just small world. He's right here.
Yeah, and I was like, he's like, he trains up the street, and I was like, what? and so like we became friends, and but yeah, so that's actually
so cool.
That's how I got into jiu-jitsu, and it just came full circle. You know, since I found that out, I like connected with him. We've become good friends, and
that's why networking's so important, because you met him years ago, and now all of a sudden,
yeah, now we're benefiting each other, and yeah, it's if you want very high quality firearms instruction, advancedtactical.com. To be fair, this isn't just to plug the business. Like, he's a very, like, this is the dude people should be learning firearms from. You know what I mean? He's a ranger, SWAT guy, like, awesome dude.
Very cool.
So shout out to Red. I think it's my 8th shout out on this podcast, but yeah, really cool guy. And he's the reason I got into jiu-jitsu.
It's very cool. So you said you've been doing the marketing now for about a year.
Yeah.
And do you still love it? Would you say?
I like it more now.
That's awesome.
Like, eventually, don't get me wrong, I'm probably gonna burn out on some stuff, but the iteration of what PDMA marketing is right now, I could not be happier with.
Right.
I'm working with clients. We're building like more or less full spectrum digital marketing plans. And I know this is probably boring to a lot of the viewers, so I'm sorry, but like I live for this, and I didn't know I lived for it until very recently. Until a couple of years ago.
It's so funny how you just like sometimes fall into things.
Isn't it funny?
But it's like the best.
Yeah, it's great. Like I'm building like full comprehensive digital marketing plans for businesses, implementing them with these businesses, and then seeing actual results of my work benefit these people's businesses. And like I said, I'm working for businesses I like.
It's good.
And I'm working for businesses I like. So like seeing that their product succeed and sell better, like it's like we all win. It's like we talked about earlier, like the rising tide floats all ships. I'm super happy, they're super happy, and then the person who's seeing my marketing and then getting that product, be it jiu-jitsu or whatever, like they're getting a good product. So it's like we all win. Like that's.
And are you getting most of your clients through word of mouth?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Like that's why I launched the page 2 days ago.
Yeah, I was saying to Sean off air, I was like, so you're not marketing your marketing?
I'm not marketing my marketing.
But that's the goal, right?
Right. And be 100% transparent. As it stands right now, this might change, as it stands right now, Phil Winkler actually gave me this advice. Phil used to own a digital marketing company. Oh. Had a conversation with him one time, and he said, I said to Phil, if you were starting kind of like I'm starting, this was years ago, I knew I wanted to get into marketing, but wasn't doing it at the time. I said, like, if you were to start your firm today, like, how would you do it differently? And he goes, you know what I would do? I get 6 real good clients. And he's like, I would spend basically 1 day working on each of them per week. And then, whatever, factor the 6th in or work on the weekends.
Yeah.
Now that I'm thinking about it, he did say 6. And then he said 1 for each day of the week. So I don't know exactly what it meant, but it was really inspirational at the time.
This advice.
But he gave great advice, and
he was giving you Sunday off, obviously.
That's the Lord's day.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, so he was like, I'd work each of them like one day a week, and then kind of like walk me through a skeleton of how he would do that. And it's been in the back of my head ever since he said that. And I'm at the point now where it's like, oh, that's basically where I'm at, and it's freaking awesome. Like, you make enough money, you have enough time to dedicate to each of your clients. Because if I got more than 6 or 7 clients, I don't think I'd be able to service them the way I service them now. So
is that what you're doing? Like, besides doing the marketing for them, you're teaching them how to continue marketing their business?
A little bit of that, for sure. I'm fine with doing that kind of thing. I'm not somebody who's like keeping all these like trade secrets closely guarded to myself.
Well, because I assume they're not. Maybe they are, but I assume there's like an end point. Like, it's not. Is it the type of thing that they would just have you do it forever?
Most of them, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know if it was just like to hit the ground running or.
Like no, and I'm happy to provide that service if that's what people are looking for.
But some of them want you to just continue staying on because you're giving them so much.
Yeah. Clients. So I mean, not to get too into the nitty gritty, but like we do have a contract of a certain length. We work to the end of that contract, and just like anything else, we renegotiate at the end of that contract. And if they don't feel like they need me anymore, then they're more than welcome to, hey, no harm, hey, nice working with you. If they'd like to renew the contract, we can renew it, and as long as I'm providing them value. But I have to teach classes. I have to set everything up. I have to do all of my billing. I have to do, whatever. I have to. Maybe they're a competitor because a lot of people that teach also compete, and competitors making their money off teaching and owning schools and all that. People are doing stuff.
Yeah.
And if I can take a huge chunk of what's making them money off their plate, it frees up their time, and it just people just don't have the time to do it. And I think in modern business, we're seeing a lot more of that. There's still big corporations out there. They have a marketing department. They have a whatever department. Small businesses are in a really cool spot right now because you can own a small business. You can't afford a marketing department, but you can hire me.
Yeah.
You can't afford like hire your own accountant, but there's accountants out there like freelancing, and you can build your own little team.
Right.
And so that's more or less what I do. That's kind of how I make my money. That, and then I work in the marketing, like freelance world, not freelance, but whatever I'm doing, small business marketing world.
Yeah.
As you know about marketing, you can't do everything. You can't be an expert in everything. Mm-hmm. So I know what I'm good at. But if a company I'm working for wants a service that I'm not great at, like I'm good, I'm okay with SEO. There's guys that have businesses that just do SEO.
And that's all they do, right?
That's all they do. And so I'm never going to tell a client, no, God, I don't know how people do it. Not fun. But if a client wants that, I'm not going to give them like a subpar SEO service and just tell them, oh, I can do that, whatever. Yeah. I tell people straight up, usually my first meeting with them, I go, if you ask me to do something I can't do, I'm never going to tell you I can do it. But what I will tell you is I have a guy for almost everything, and I'll go and get them, and we'll work them into the deal somehow. Maybe if I'll pay them, you can cut them, however they want to do it. But I just had a meeting this morning with a guy who does mostly like copywriting, website design, and all that. He's got a client who wants to start doing content, so he called me, and we work it in, and it's just really cool. Like we were talking about communities earlier. That's like another little community. It's like this little marketing bubble of all these people who are good at little things, and we can call them in. And then even so much like the small businesses, they can call their accounting guy, they can call their marketing guy. So it's really cool.
I mean, it's kind of like we were saying earlier, like if you just start doing something you like, all of a sudden you just have this community around you who fills in everything you can't do.
Yeah.
Like I go to you for things that I'm like, I literally, another Fuel Hunt plug, I talked to Joey the other day to ask him about LLC stuff. Like, you just all of a sudden know who to go to, even if you can't do it. I think that's the coolest part of being self-employed.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, like, I am self-employed, but I'm also not self-employed. But for the self-employed,
I have other income streams too.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the modern. People our age. We all have multiple income streams. Yes, absolutely.
To wrap that up, anything else about the marketing stuff?
No, we can stop boring people's brains out. But if you are interested in it, for real, you can go to Instagram right now. It's pdma.digitalmarketing. And if you need digital marketing services, just send me a DM there. Send me a DM of people doing martial arts, or have a form on my website. That's pdmastore.com. You can fill out the form. It says like book services. There will be a dedicated website to the marketing stuff eventually.
Yeah,
but right now
awesome.
right now it's all through the same.
Well, also you were saying for the marketing, you're also using a lot of YouTube. You were telling me.
Yeah, I mean, I do YouTube marketing, but I've started the People Doing Martial Arts YouTube channel. So one of the reasons I started it is because I was like, I need to get good at YouTube because I might have clients who want to use YouTube, and it's in my wheelhouse, it's in my spectrum.
Right.
So I started doing a YouTube channel. I started making the dumbest videos of all time. It's a combination of jiu-jitsu and very nerdy stuff. So if you're like those two things, you might like this. But I started making YouTube videos where I would make jiu-jitsu guys in like Dungeons and Dragons alignment charts. And
It was a lot of research, though. It was good.
I love making those videos, and I want to do more of that. My one big fan, shout out Chrissy Briggs. Chrissy is the biggest fan of those videos, and she's the only one.
I have watched them.
So, okay, thank you.
Because I just wanted to see where you put certain people.
Yes,
Like,
yeah, that's what it is, and it's just like, but man, those are fun to make. And but then I was just like, I'm having fun with the YouTube thing. Let me do more stuff.
Yeah.
So now I have like a YouTube channel where I talk to a camera about jiu-jitsu.
Yep.
And I love it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun, and I have the same mentality with that with the PDMA, with the people doing martial arts Instagram. I'm just making videos about whatever I want to make videos about.
Yeah.
I've had a couple videos do very well. I've had a couple videos do not well.
It's all trial and error.
It's all trial and error, and it's all I don't really care.
Yeah,
And here's the thing, though. Full transparency with YouTube, I had a match breakdown do super well. Decade versus Levi, like you and Zach were talking about.
Yep.
Shout out Zach. 34th shout out of the day. No, but Zach Manslaney, Zach was so cool after that video hit. It hit like 7,000 views in like 3 days. It was crazy how
awesome.
quick that video.
That's the one you were saying you got a lot of hate.
Yeah,
for?
that's what I commented on Zach's thing. So, because I agree with Zach.
Right.
And I did a full match breakdown where I had the rules like in front of me. I watched the match like 5 times before, not counting the initial time I watched it. Did the match breakdown. I brought the rules up on the screen, and I was like, here's my opinion. And then everybody on YouTube was like, your opinion's dumb. Like, and then,
you're like, damn.
And then, and so that was so much fun, like that Cade versus Levi breakdown, because I was getting like so many, I'd open my YouTube creator app and like there would just be comments. And still, if you look at, it kind of goes along with that same trend, like my videos, whatever I make, like people like commenting. And I like commenting back. Because to be honest with you, there's a lot of people on there that are like, hey man, I said Cade won, and I was like, I said, here's my reasons for that. A lot of comments were, hey, I disagree with you. I think Levi won, but I appreciate you, bringing the comments up. And then the other people that were just like,
the keyboard
like,
warriors.
You freaking moron.
Love that.
But I'm telling you, like, I'll never forget this one interaction I had. I was talking to this guy, and he's like, you're an idiot, Levi won. And when I comment back, I don't comment with that same energy.
Yeah.
I can't. It's just not me.
Oh.
So
can't relate.
I always hit him back with like hey man, you got some good points in there. I disagree. But I always like end it with like, thank you for watching or thank you for supporting.
That's
like
nice.
whatever.
That's very Rick Miglioris of you.
It's, I learn. I learn from Rick. I learned a lot from Rick.
Dante's the same way. I look at his comments and people are like, go fuck yourself. And he's like, have a nice day.
Yeah. Thanks for watching.
I'm like, man, I hope I could be that chill.
But it's funny because most people, they throw their mean comment up there. I respond. They probably don't even see my response. But this one dude, like, he kept trying to get me to crack. And I just kept taking it as a challenge. I was like, I don't want to crack, but now I'm definitely not going to.
Yeah.
And you can go on there. It's like, I should pin it as like the comment. It's like maybe 10 or so messages back and forth. And the last one goes, hey man, I still disagree with you, but thank you so much for like interacting. Like, this is a really cool video.
This is you saying it.
No, he said
him
this.
saying it.
Yeah.
Oh, so he was more chill at the end.
He chilled out. He's like, yo, I really appreciate you taking the time to like interact with me. And he goes, you know what? You just earned yourself a subscriber. And then he subscribed. And I'm
Holy
like,
fuck.
Hey, there we go.
After he was like a
that's
total
cool.
dick at the beginning.
Yeah. And
that's
YouTube,
so funny.
if you don't know, YouTube is like very straightforward with their monetization.
Yeah.
So subscribers matter. So when he said that, I was just like, okay, cool. Like, this guy's going to make me money. Even though I just argue with him on the internet.
See? So it was good that you kept your cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a guy the other day, like I posted that video of the little girl getting the middle finger, which like isn't even my video, but like,
no, I remember.
Why not use
I was there.
it? Yeah, I was there too. I was coaching while
right.
it was happening. But to this day, I get like hundreds of comments a week on it. And I don't even interact with it half the time, but I just let it go because I'm hoping it funnels people to the page. And so one guy was just being such a dick. And like, I know better than to like let them get to me. But it was funny because he was just like, all my point, of course, was just saying like, the man is a grown man. You shouldn't give a little girl the finger. And this guy's argument was basically, nobody's holding a little girl accountable. Like, this is why kids are that way. And I'm just like, what are are you talking about? Like, first of all, nobody's saying that, we don't know what really happened. But even if the little girl did something wrong, no one's saying that she shouldn't be taken to the side and told, like, hey, that was poor sportsmanship. No one said that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the main issue here. The main issue is there's a grown fucking man giving a child the middle finger. So anyway, most people, like 99% of people, think normal. But this guy was part of the percentage that was like, he like replied to me specifically and was like, I hope you never have children. He's like, you're the type of person who's going to raise real idiots. And Sean, I had it typed out. Me and your mom have that in common. And it was so good.
So good.
And I was like, fuck you. And then I was like, no, I'm not going to be that person. So I didn't send it. I decided just to ignore it. But that really...
Is that comment still up?
It's still there.
I assume it's still
there. It's
there.
not too late. I can still respond to it.
Yeah, it's not too late.
And like, don't get me wrong. Like, I wasn't
one.
mad. Like, I was laughing at him because I was like, you're a
No.
lunatic that you're... I think I ended up responding and just saying like, because he wrote something like she needs to be disciplined. And I think I just ended up responding and saying, so are you saying the middle finger was the correct form of discipline?
Yeah, hey dude, I don't know if you're missing like the actual issue here.
Yeah, and I think he then replied and was like, no, I'm not saying she deserved the middle finger, but everyone's just giving her a free pass. And then I stopped replying because I was like, something's wrong with you.
Yeah, clearly.
Like, you're missing the picture. But I enjoyed it because he was bringing more interaction to the video anyway. So any publicity is good publicity.
Absolutely.
Especially starting out.
No, guys like that's who you need commenting. Like, it's,
I was happy
we're
about
going
it.
into this stuff. And, it's funny. Another good outcome of that video, of that comments, is in the video. So I agree with Zach and I scored the match exactly the same. Now, Zach is a professional CJI judge who has years of experience. I'm some guy.
Yeah.
Let's not get that confused here for a second. Zach is a professional, and all those judges, Miha, J-Flow, like, very professional. I'm not. My video was not arguing with the judging.
Yeah, it was just your opinion.
It was just my opinion. Yeah, and I actually the biggest criticism I think my friends gave me on that video was like, dude, we get it. You don't think you're qualified to do this, like, because I kept saying that. I was newer to YouTube at the time.
Yeah.
And but so at one point I didn't know Zach too well at the time. But I had, I've been up to finishers. I've seen him. He's the nicest guy in the world. So he was saying hi to people.
Yeah.
Very, nobody better than Zach Maslany. And in the video, I go, hey, full disclosure, I know Zach Maslany. My literal phrase was, I know Zach Maslany the minimum amount that you can know a person. Because at the time I didn't. But I said, I want to say this out loud because somebody's going to find this video and somebody's going to go, well, that guy's from Philly and Zach's from Bethlehem, and they know each other. They're in cahoots. That he's only making this to...
Right.
And Elisa, that's what happened.
Oh, God.
People started commenting and going like, this guy's just trying to defend his
conspiring.
friend. And I'm like, dude, I'm not even friends with the guy. But literally, I opened my phone one day and I have about 37 voice messages from Zach Maslany.
He's like, we are friends.
I'm kidding, obviously. But it had a couple of voice messages and I was like, I've never messaged Zach before. But Zach is like on there and he like, it is the nicest like voice messages you could imagine. He's just like, yo, bro, I saw your video. Thank you for making that. Like, I appreciate you siding. Like, but he knows I didn't just make it to side with him.
No.
We just happened to share the same opinion.
Right.
And, and he gave me so much encouragement on my YouTube that like, anytime I'm getting like, not that I ever get disillusioned with YouTube, but man, like that made an impact. And that's why I'm so glad Zach was on your show the other day, like talking, because that dude is, it made a real impact. And now we're friends. We like, we message each other on Instagram, like, and when I see my finishers, like, so now that video is not true anymore because I know Zach a little better.
And he's also super level-headed. So, like, even he wasn't, like, you saw in the video I posted, he wasn't like, I'm a know-it-all, like, my way or the highway. Even he was like, I could see why people thought this or that. Like, he's not a dickhead about it. To be honest, I had Levi winning.
Well, you don't know anything. You obviously don't know anything about the rules of CJI.
Yeah, obviously I'm a moron. But I also just really like Levi. Like, I was following him for a lot before CJI, and I felt like I was a little biased because I felt like he needed it more. Like, that would have been a really great opportunity. Cade already is Cade Rotolo. But I will say, after hearing Zach break it down for me in person, I was like, okay, I never thought about it that way. And I went back and watched it when I had to make the reel I made. I rewatched the whole match between the two of them and the Tackett match. And I did pick up things I didn't notice when I was there watching it.
Yeah. And I did the same thing. People would comment sometimes and they would make a point and I'd be like, shoot.
You have to be open-minded.
That is a real good point, and you, like we saw, even the judges didn't agree. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's a split decision. It's not not the judging wasn't even unanimous. So that's such a hard judging is such. We were just talking about the cameras off. I don't want to be
Not
a
for
judge.
me.
Not for me. We have friends that do it.
Nope.
We have shout out Big J.
Yeah.
79th shout out of this episode. But people like Jay, man,
one.
like I'm good on judging. I'll commentate, but I'm not going to judge.
And that's the thing. Like, that's why a lot of people say, like, don't leave it up to the judging. Easier said than done.
Oh
of
my
course.
God, I hate when people say
so
that.
much easier said than done. But it is the truth. Like, it's always open for perception.
Yes. Yep.
And everybody's not going to agree.
Yep.
So, of course, you can't always get a submission. But when you don't and you leave it up to judge's decision, that's what it's going to be.
That's what's gonna happen.
Judge's decision. So
Yep.
it is what it is. You brought up commentating. Thank you.
Yes.
So you commentated last weekend.
Yeah,
I think it was.
Riverfront Fights.
At Riverfront Fights, which I love. I didn't make it
Great.
because I was hosting a party.
No, you just don't support the veterans of the United States.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
cool.
so
No
sorry.
problem.
I'm
No
so
problem,
sorry.
Elisa. We heard it here first. Elisa hates America.
Somebody will
Moving
definitely take that
on.
clip, post it all over Reddit. That's how I know I made
It's
it.
gonna be me.
Yes.
Growing PDMA Reddit. r/PDMA. Just a giggles girl hates America. You heard it here first.
It's all right. If that's how I have to make it, that's fine. I've been there. I went last year. They put on a really good show.
Yeah,
How
Elise
did
and Billy.
Who is it? Oh, yeah.
Elise Shaw and Billy Shaw also, I assume.
Yeah. And they've been doing that for what, a while now?
This is the fifth one.
Fifth one?
Yep.
But this is the first time you commentated.
First time I've commented. Yep, I've
And
competed.
how did
haven't commented.
You get that?
So I have a good working relationship with Elise and Billy. They're great. They own Riverfront Jiu-Jitsu in Wilmington, Delaware. How did I get this?
I'm just going to call this episode Networking with
This
Lisa and Sean.
this is networking. And we're coming full circle here.
Yeah.
So I the whole Riverfront Fights is a benefit for the We Defy Foundation, which I would, if you don't mind, we can talk about it a little later. If you don't mind.
I mean, you can.
Yeah. I'll save it. I'll talk about this first. Kind of segue into that, but it's a great foundation that I work with. Anyway, so it's a big fundraiser, and so I'm the Philadelphia area rep for the We Defy Foundation. Some of my friends are the Delaware reps, so they put on this big event. One of We Defy's, if not the biggest We Defy Foundation fundraiser of the year.
Right.
So I've competed at it, and I think I competed 2 years ago. Actually, I was supposed to compete last year. It's the only match I've ever pulled out of. Broke my wrist before. I felt so bad, dude. Anyway, worked itself out. That's neither here nor there. So I competed in it 2 years ago. Had a great time. Since I've become better friends with Billy and Elise. Great people. So this year, I knew I was going to be working at it in some capacity because every year I help out a little bit. Because it's for the foundation. And so this year I knew I'd be doing something, but I messaged Elise at one point and I go, yo, like, what do I got to do to get on the commentary team?
Yeah.
I've always wanted to commentate. Not always, but it's something I've been wanting to do.
Yeah.
And I was like, this would be a perfect event because it's a small charity event, but not small, it's a pretty big charity event. But I know everybody there.
Yeah. You're a little more comfortable.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I know a lot of people. It's funny because I think I'm known for knowing people.
You do know a lot of people.
I do know a lot of people.
It's good though.
So she was like, well, Eric and Jess do it every year, and Eric Naples and Jess, what's Jess's last name?
Like Flower Bud Jess?
Yeah, Flowerbud Jess.
I forget.
Edit this
Everyone
out.
calls her Flower Bud though.
Edit this out. I think her last name is Bermudez, but also Jess Bermudez might be a different person.
Okay. If you're right, I'll leave it in.
Yeah. If I'm right, leave this part in. But if I'm wrong, if I'm wrong, leave it in too, and just put like a big thing about how stupid I am.
This is gonna be a reel.
Or just put.
And I'm gonna tag her.
Okay.
I'm collabing with her.
Here we go. If I'm wrong, put a picture of whoever the heck Jess Bermudez is on the
I'm
screen.
gonna Photoshop her behind the commentating. Like next to you.
So anyway, Eric Naples and Jess, potentially Bermudez.
Yeah. Flower
Flowerbud Jess. They typically do the commentating, and they actually do. They are a great commentating team.
Yeah, they are.
It's not easy to do commentary.
That's why when you did it, I was gonna ask you about it because I was like, it sounds hard.
It's not easy at all.
Yeah.
And I've talked to Jay about this. And it's and so Elise was like, Eric and Jess usually do it, but she's like, well, you know them, so if you want to send a message and ask if they don't mind you crashing in, and I was like, of course. So I sent a message to I think to Eric, and Elise had also messaged Eric, and so we just kind of like worked it out that we knew there was gonna be 2 microphones, and we knew we had 3 people that wanted to commentate. I told them, I was like, look, this is your guys' show. I don't want to interrupt. If I could just hop on a couple matches, that's fine. But it ended up working out because being that we had 2 mics and 3 commentators, one person could go get a bite to eat, use restroom, do something, and we would just fill in, and it ended up working out great. Like I had a really good time. I mean, I genuinely felt like I was like working with the pros. They're so good.
Yeah.
And I was just trying to do my best.
I listened to it. Well, one, because Tim from my gym was competing, and you happened to be commentating his match. It was Tim from Freedom.
Oh yeah.
And like I recognized your voice because I knew you were commenting, but I wasn't sure which ones. And I was like, oh, that's Sean. And I was like, okay, let me listen. And I was like, wow, he sounds like he knows what the fuck he's doing. And you really did. I really mean that, because I've been asked to commentate, and I'm afraid, because I think it sounds so easy, but I'm afraid I'm gonna get on the mic and be like, now he's sitting guard. like how, like, do you question yourself? I feel like I'd be like, I don't know if that's important to say, or
Okay, so
it's hard.
you want to know what's even crazier about it, leading into your question? Eric and Jess are so good because they complement each other. Eric is so good at breaking down the technique of what's happening, and Jess is so good at like keeping the pace moving, explaining like what's happening, who's wearing what, all that kind of stuff. So I ended up having to fill both roles, because sometimes it was Jess. So I knew when I was with Jess, I had to be more technical. When I was with Eric, I knew I kind of had to do more of that side of things. And I don't remember what your question is, but
well, I was just saying, like, did you feel like you questioned
myself.
yourself?
Yes. And so, sorry, I knew I was getting somewhere. But I mean, the short answer is yes. But especially when towards the later matches, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to throw it out there. I'm going to start breaking down some of this technique with Eric, because I was only doing it with Jess. And I would be like, and now he's going over to the left, whatever. But I literally went to Eric a couple times and was like, Eric, what would you be doing in this situation? Like when I ran out of like things to intelligently say, I would just
back to you.
I'd throw it over to him.
Yeah, that's good though.
I tried to fill the for the UFC fans out there, which I assume most people watching this are. I tried to fill like the John Anik role, where I let Eric do the breakdown. I let Jess do what she's good at, and I just kind of like, I was plugging Toyo tires. You know what I mean? Like I would just be like, oh, this guy's an Army veteran, and this is a veteran fundraiser or whatever.
Yeah. No, you sounded confident. You have a good speaking voice too.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, he sounds confident, because I feel like I'd be on there like nervous about what to say, and I would just be really overthinking. But I felt like you were just, also you have like a split second to like realize what's happening.
Did you see the reel I posted today?
What'd you say?
Did you see the reel I posted today?
No, not yet.
Was
it about that?
It's me screwing up the commentary.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. I clipped it and made it a reel. Because it's this girl's match, and the one girl had a close guard, and then she switched to like a body triangle in the close guard. I literally am saying, ooh, she switched to a body triangle in the close guard. That in jiu-jitsu is usually not the best idea, because it cuts your mobility. I know I saw this when I was watching the matches, really? And then you said something about like, oh, I guess not in this case. I guess I don't know what I'm talking about.
I didn't see the reel, but I saw you saying that in real time. But to be honest, as a listener, it didn't even register as like, oh, Sean said something silly. I was just like, oh, that girl's like unique. That was more what I thought.
And that's what was going on. And hey, like, but it again, Eric, he's the man. He literally, the second I go, oh, I'm wrong, Eric goes, no, I thought the same thing.
That's right.
And it made, I truly think like him saying that
covered.
You're not maybe thinking about like the credibility of the announcer, but he, in doing that, whether he did it purposely or not, he's like so dialed in that he saved me there a little bit. You know what I mean? Like he was like, no, I agree. And so now the person that's watching isn't even thinking about it. Like, they can trust the commentary. And
you're right. I forgot he did that. He doubled down on what you said.
Yes. Yeah.
And
clutch move.
And the thing is, most people listening don't know it's your first time commentating.
And I never.
They have no idea
it.
how credible you are. Me listening, I knew because you had told me.
Right.
But I do remember when you did that, I was like, I had like that fleeting thought of like, that was nice of him, and I didn't know if it was on purpose or by accident or whatever.
I don't know either. He's so good.
It worked out.
And actually, fortunately, Eric and I are going to do more commentary.
You liked it?
I loved it.
That's great.
I'm not gonna lie.
Awesome.
I spent, as I told you, my like youth, quote unquote, on stages in bands.
Mm-hmm.
I was never like a lead singer, but I was always a lead person. I played guitar, played bass, or something like that.
Right.
But I was always the guy on stage talking.
Right.
And back in like our scene, if you will, talking on stage was a big deal. I was in pop punk bands. People talk on stage a lot, but that was always my role. So I got used to talking on stage, and now I talk in front of a camera. I'm very like this. Even what we're doing here is just, this is what I like doing.
Isn't it crazy too how you're getting into it now? Like, I know your life, you couldn't have done it earlier, timing's everything, but I don't know, I always think like, I wonder if I would have done this 10 years ago, where I would
think about that a lot.
But then I have the thought of specific to jiu-jitsu.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we could have, because I feel like jiu-jitsu wasn't in a place where it would have been receptive.
It's not.
Like, I feel like we're getting in now at like the best time because it's growing, but it's not peaked.
I tell people this all the time.
You know?
I say, especially with what we're doing, let's be real here. There's plenty of people that we're friends with, including us, that are trying to make money off of jiu-jitsu in some way, shape, or form. Mm-hmm. You want to make money on this podcast. I want to make money off my page. Yeah. Making money is awesome. For some reason, people think, oh, I have to pretend I'm not doing this to make money. Oh, I'm not doing to make money. But making money is a cool.
Yeah,
like,
nobody doesn't want to.
Yeah, even if that's not your goal, which I don't think it's either of our goals, like it's cool when money starts flowing.
Yeah.
And I tell people all the time when I'm working, especially in other industries, I say my industry right now, I'm in an industry where there's not a ton of money, but there's more money than there's ever been.
Yeah.
And if you make a chart, like it looks like more money is going to be coming in.
Right.
And that doesn't necessarily mean like, I hope it means that the athletes are going to get paid more. I hope
Yeah.
it means, because they're the ones who are the reason we can do this. Like, sorry, but like if Amanda Levy and Cindy aren't out there, performing, no one's going to want to hear us talk about them. And so
Yeah.
shout out to Amanda Levy and Cindy. 346 shout out of this.
Well, I was explaining
Cindy-
this to
Cindy
my
Young.
parents
Follow her.
recently because I was just telling them how I'm like getting people to come on the podcast. And I was like, timing really is everything. Because if you look at a sport that's well established, like football, baseball, literally any other sport, actually, basketball, even
I
wrestling.
think we're beating croquet. I think.
Yeah, polo. Like, it doesn't matter. It would be really friggin' hard if I decided tomorrow to be a basketball podcaster.
Yeah.
Who the frig is coming on my podcast?
You're not getting LeBron James.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not. Whereas with jiu-jitsu, we're in a unique position where we can get close to some of the biggest stars there are. Right.
They're my friends.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But I think it's timing because I think, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if in 5 to 10 years, you don't have that access. Like,
Right.
maybe we will because we got in early, but I do see it heading to a place where it is such a big deal that the access will be less and less and less. So I honestly, when I had that thought of like, damn, I wish I started this earlier, I'm like, actually, I think timing's everything. And I think we hit the timing perfectly.
And you see that too, because I don't hate when people, it's kind of cliche to make the comparison between MMA and jiu-jitsu, even though they are on similar trajectories. There's a lot different if you look at it from a business standpoint. I cannot believe those words just came out of my mouth. Sorry, that's the most pretentious I've ever sounded. Wow.
approve.
Anyway, that's on video. Oh boy. No, but if you look at it, there are some similarities. And when I talked to a guy like Rick Migleris, who was around at the beginning of the UFC, and now he's at where he's at, the names he drops casually, the people he just,
Right.
especially when I first started jiu-jitsu, he's like,
Crazy.
He's like, oh, I'm hanging out with, Frankie Edgar and this, that,
Yeah,
other
you're
thing.
like,
Or
cool,
it's
cool,
like, yeah. And then I'm just like, oh my God, like, how do you know Frankie Edgar? And Frankie's just one of many names. Rick, oh my God. Go anywhere with MMA with Rick Migleris. He's like the mayor of MMA.
Yeah.
You walk, it's like he can't get through it without like, and I'm talking like I've seen big name people. Yeah, Rick, and you're just like, him? Like, it's
Because he's been around and he's also very likable.
right, great guy.
It's a combination,
Yes,
for sure.
but the parallel I was trying to draw was that like, yeah, he was around at like when MMA was on the rise. So when he made friends with, I just keep using Frank Edgar for whatever reason as an example. When he makes friends with Frank Edgar's just some dude.
Right.
Like, and
Right.
now he's freaking Frank Edgar. And rightfully so, every MMA fan like loves, respects. I mean, maybe they don't all love him, but you got to respect Frank Edgar, and guys like that. So yeah, we're kind of in this weird position now where if jiu-jitsu continues on this trajectory, and I don't think it will follow the same trajectory as MMA, I think it's going to have its own path.
It's definitely going to grow.
I think it's going to grow. I think if you just look, if I was a betting person, if I was to be betting, I think,
Good time to buy stocks.
yeah, buy jiu-jitsu stocks. DraftKings.
Yeah, it's a really good time.
But yeah, anyway, so how did we even get into that?
Commentating.
Commentating.
Also, is anyone here? Do you see a car?
I've been looking. I don't see. Oh, there's a truck. I can't tell if that's across the street though.
Nah, it would be a SUV.
Okay, I do not see an SUV. I've been looking.
Okay, cool. But yeah, commentating. So you enjoyed it.
Great time.
You would do it again.
I'm doing it again.
Are you doing it again? You have something set up?
So Eric and I
Nice.
I messaged. No, I posted something and then Eric responded and he's like, "Bro, can we do more? Like, can we figure out how to do more?" Because he's like, "I really enjoyed you as a partner," which again means a ton because Eric's a man.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to commentating. I mean, he's a great competitor too. But so we know a guy who you and Zach were talking about him, Brad, who broadcast the finisher stuff.
Right.
So Brad owns a company and then they do like live broadcasts. He just started combatch.com where they're going to be doing like more live broadcasts. And Brad and I are actually working on some projects too. But I told him, I was like, yo, I need to do more commentating. So whatever you got. And he started laughing. I was at Web on Wednesday. And he started laughing and I go, why? He goes, Eric already messaged me. And I was just
That's
like,
awesome.
oh, perfect. Like
Now, I feel like I know the answer, but do you feel, I know you've only done it once, so you don't have a lot to compare to. Do you feel like who you're commentating with kind of could make or break it? Like, do you feel like there's a certain chemistry that goes along with making it good?
just from somebody who watches a lot of jiu-jitsu, I think that's everything.
Yeah.
I think you get a guy like Jay Riccobluto. he can kind of hold it down by himself. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter who's with him.
Yeah, he's seasoned.
He's the man. He knows what he's doing. He understands the game. He understands how to fill dead air. He knows all that. I had a great time doing it with Eric and Jess for that reason. I felt like I was very comfortable just because they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to put my little thing in there, but I think that's a great point. And if you've been on RBJJ lately, there was an event that happened recently that the commentators got some flack. I'm not giving the commentators flack.
Yeah.
And I don't even necessarily agree with all these people on Reddit. But it's funny because, like, it just goes to show that, like, commentating can be something, it can really affect how you're watching a match. And sorry, I just yelled there, but.
No, you're right. I mean, even, like, I've never commentated, but from a podcasting is the closest thing I can relate to. And it's like, depending on who I'm interviewing, my energy, I'm trying to get better at not allowing it to determine my energy. But, like, someone, like, we're very comfortable with each other. We're friends. I'm very relaxed. But, sometimes maybe it's somebody who's more introverted and I'm, like, struggling to pull it out, which then makes me have to act slightly a different way.
Yeah.
So that's why it made me think, like, I can imagine how whoever you're working with can determine the flow, kind of.
Yeah. And what I really liked about it too is that's people have asked me that, and then people have asked me, like, what's it like commenting? Because I had to comment a couple kids matches and a couple wipeout matches.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, like that must have been tough, and I'm like, no, dude, like I loved it.
Yeah.
The kids, it's different because like some of the kids are really good, so it's like easy to but some of the wipeout matches, I was having so much fun because I'm like, oh, I fully understand what's going on here. Versus, like, if I had to commentate one of Eric's matches, I can't walk you through what Eric's doing necessarily. Like, if he does like some advanced like leg lock kind of thing, or some of those guys, I can do my best. Don't get me wrong. I think I have a full enough understanding of jiu-jitsu to be able to do a good job. But realistically, like, I can comment the crap out of a wipeout match.
Right. Yeah, and some of it, like, when I'm really impressed with the commentating is like, they are commentating things that haven't even happened yet. Like, you listen to them, they're like, he's setting up for X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, how the fuck do you know that? And that's why I'm like, don't ask me, because I think I would suck at that because I'm just still learning, right? But you can tell that these people have experience because they can tell by certain movements. Maybe they're not always right, but a lot of the times they can help us as the viewers understand what's happening. And as somebody who's newer to jiu-jitsu, that helps me greatly
100%.
When I'm watching. Like, it makes it so much more enjoyable. So yeah, that's awesome.
And that's like that's the role I think for, again, the UFC. I think that's the role like somebody like Rogan plays, because he's so good at like walking the person who's never trained jiu-jitsu before. He can be like, okay, so what he's gonna do, you'll see he'll try to get the left leg over, and the guy gets the left leg over. So I was trying to do a lot of that.
Right. Or even explain like why they're doing it, and like educating the listener, which like people eat that shit up. Like, I love watching and being like, wow, now I feel like I know more than I did before I watched, right? The Riverfront I was thinking like the Riverfront was We Defy, right?
It's a fundraiser for We Defy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So explain for people that might not know what We Defy is.
Yes. So the We Defy Foundation is a nonprofit that I forgot the exact tagline. You can look it up on the website, wedefyfoundation.org. But basically what we do is we take any combat disabled veteran, 80% and up VA rating, and if you qualify for that, you'll know what that means, is eligible for one of our scholarships. And what we do is we put them in a jiu-jitsu gym for a year. Pay for everything. Pay for the full year's tuition, awesome. Uniforms, the whole gambit. Wow. If the school requires, like if it's like a Gracie Baja, you gotta wear, we'll buy that uniform. If they don't, we'll give them. We have uniforms. We actually just switched to Fuji now makes all of our gear.
Very cool.
So t-shirts,
this is
rash guards, countrywide. Yes. Yep. Cool. We do have a sister organization in that handles like British veterans called Reorg. You can look them up too. But the We Defy Foundation, like, our goal is to, we have a veteran suicide epidemic. Wow, that's the wrong time to laugh. A dog just whimpered. It
didn't even hit me what you just said.
My God, that is... Please keep this in. Do not edit this part out. A dog just whimpered.
And you're not going to be able to hear it on the mic at all.
Oh, my God.
Which is even funnier.
That we could not have been talking about a more serious
We're going to be canceled. We're like, now it's going to be believable that I hate veterans.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be grouped in there too. Oh, yes, veteran suicide. This is so bad. Yeah. Okay. We have a. Okay. Back to seriousness. We have a veteran suicide we're both smiling, so you're gonna have to leave this in. Okay. Back to. All right. But, yeah. Seriously, on a serious note, and well, you know what? It's the suicide part's not fun, but the fact that we get to help people, and what we do to try to build the community is a lot of fun, and so that's why we're laughing.
Nice save.
Trying to laugh here. Trying to.
We're smiling about how much we love to help.
Yes.
We love to help.
Okay. I'm just going to skip. We're going to go back to that. Everybody knows there's a veteran suicide epidemic happening. If you don't know that and you're in America, I don't know, Google. Look up. We had this 20-year war. A lot of us aren't really sure if we should have been fighting or not. You know, it's like kind of a thing.
I just want this to be a whole reel. It's just Sean like crashing, just freaking out,
descending into the man. You know, yeah, whatever. And then we try to get out. We try to get help, and then the VA's like, "Here's a bunch of pills. This will make you better." And then it doesn't. So then we drink, and then
so that's why there's We Defy.
That's why there's We Defy Foundation.
We Defy's gonna be like, you're not our ambassador anymore.
To be completely honest with you, this is how a lot of veterans talk about it, and I can't speak for the whole veteran community, obviously. But you have to approach it with some level of levity because, I mean, if you don't, that's, you know, the dark truth is like, you know, it's some fucked up stuff. And yes, but let's talk about the good. So there is a veteran suicide epidemic. Unfortunately, I don't want to say most. I don't have any data on this, but I would venture to say most, and I can confidently say most people I know that are veterans have been personally affected by this.
Mm-hmm.
Just like people we know, and we like some of our good friends have been hit with this suicide epidemic. It just keeps happening, and it sucks. And there's no real easy answer to it. There are steps the government could take if they would like to, but that's another thing. Actually, you know what? I'm going to talk about that. I'm not going to say the person's name, but I know a neuroscientist, and I can't say where she works because I don't want to give up her, blow up her spot. But I know a neuroscientist who works specifically, I can't say exactly what she works on. She understands this field more than most people. She understands what people are going through, specifically veterans. And she works at a very, very highly accredited place. She is as legit as they come.
Is this a jiu-jitsu person?
No.
Okay.
This person is a scientist. It's not my wife, but it's. I
was like, wait, is it?
No, it's legitimate. It's not my wife. It's a very good friend. Well, it's somebody who I know. So, and she works at a very highly accredited institution. And I don't know if you're aware lately of the MDMA trials they did with. The FDA was looking to potentially approve MDMA as a treatment for like therapy assisted or MDMA assisted therapy for veterans. There was a lot of good that went out there, and basically what happened, I was told from this scientist, who has no skin in the game. She's not a veteran. She's just a scientist. She's a very, very intelligent scientist who works on this kind of thing, and she told me that the FDA told the science community, whoever was doing it, I think it was Johns Hopkins, hey, you need to, in order for us to approve it, you need to do X, Y, and Z. And then those scientists did X, Y, and Z, came to the FDA and said, hey, we did it. Like, we can use it. It's cool.
Yeah.
And then the FDA moved the goalpost. And
interesting.
I'm not smart enough to know if that's what people need. I don't know anything about most things. I'm not a smart person. But I'm gonna let the smart people tell me. I'm gonna try to listen to these smart people, like the scientists. And she told me that like all signs were pointing to like, yeah, we can get this approved. We can start helping people. It's helped people in the past.
Right.
Again, I'm not the expert, so do your own research. But like, when I have somebody like this telling me like, hey, the FDA, they told us if we do this, then they will, then it'll get approved and we can start helping people. And then they did it, and the FDA moved the goalpost.
Right.
It's like
it
is infuriating to me. I'm sorry, I'm getting passionate, but like it's I don't know. This isn't a political statement. This isn't whatever. This is this is nonsense. This has helped people. Anyway, but let's, you know what, we're focusing on the negative here. Let's talk about what we're doing at We Defy to do our part. And that's what we're doing is this organization is a very good organization.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to work for any particular veteran charity. I knew I wanted to get involved somehow just in my own community. But I didn't know who to go to. And as you probably know, this isn't just true with veteran charities, it's true with a lot of charities. There's a lot of people that, you know, run charitable organizations, and then you look at the breakdown of the numbers and you go, huh, how much is this guy making?
Right.
How much is this guy making?
100%.
It's very, you know, I think this charity has since legitimized, so I don't want to say their name because they might be doing good things. I don't want to put a bad taste in anybody's mouth, but a particular charity that I had a friend get really screwed over by, a popular veteran charity. And so that really tainted my view of some of these veteran charities. But when I met the guys from We Defy, they were like, hey, man, here's our financials. We publish them. The public can view them. We're not hiding anything. We're going to show you that 8 cents of every dollar, or not 8 cents of every dollar, 80 cents of every dollar, sorry,
Right.
told you I'm not a math guy, goes directly to the veterans.
Right.
I think there's 3 paid positions in the whole organization, and it's we have thousands of volunteers nationwide. So
Right.
it's like 3 people that we pay to say like, hey, just run this. And they do a great job. I know those people. As I said, we sponsor a combat disabled veteran at a gym for a year. The theory behind it is jiu-jitsu, as you know, is a great community of people. Not everyone's great, but it's a lot of great people.
Most.
Most people are great. And a lot of times what people are lacking when they leave the military, it's a cliche, but they're lacking that community that we once had. It's a very tight-knit community. Do a lot of things with a lot of the same people. You wear the uniform. So if I'm in and I might have to go do a job with somebody I've never met before, and it could be a very dangerous job, it could be a very high-stakes job, and I've never met you before.
Right.
So I have to be able to trust you. So we develop that level of trust. It's not perfect, but that's the kind of thing we have. And
Right.
And one of the closest things on the outside that mirrors that is the jiu-jitsu community. You know, you're getting together, you're having a hard workout. You're not just socializing, but you're becoming like, I don't know, you're just forming a community, basically.
Yeah.
Kind of theme of this podcast, community. You're forming a good community.
Yeah.
And so the overarching idea of the We Defy Foundation is to give people that community back, is to say, hey, it's not going to be exactly the same as it was in the military,
Right.
but this is like one of the closest things.
Yeah.
And like on top of it, it's good for you. You know, some people, unfortunately, they get out, they never exercise again, they start drinking, they do all this stuff. I don't know about you, but like I've basically quit drinking since I've started training.
Yeah, you kind of can't do both.
It's
I mean, not that I never have fun,
No,
but it's
no,
really
no.
hard to, especially if you're training on the weekends. You have to prioritize.
If you don't train jiu-jitsu and you don't know what it's like to be hungover with a
It's not
200-pound sweaty dude trying to choke you,
Not fun.
Uh-huh.
I did it like twice, and I was like, this sucks.
Same thing.
One time, not to get off on a rant, but one time me and Becca showed up to Illuminati on a Saturday, and we
Burkhart?
both, Burkhart. Shout out to Becca. She's gonna be like, thanks
Shout
for blowing my shit up.
Yeah, just had baby. Congratulations.
I know, yeah,
I
congrats.
don't know if we're supposed to say that on the podcast, but
Yeah, well, by the time this comes out. But I forget why we were both drinking the night before. We weren't together, but we were both had something going on, but we both knew we were. Anyway, we showed up the next day and we were doing rolls, like forward rolls were somehow entangled in the technique Jay was teaching, and we were both like about to throw up on the mats.
yeah.
And like, I don't even feel like we drank that much, but just the fact that we drank it all the night before, I was like, I'm never doing this again, because to drink and get up at 9 a.m. to go train with your friends,
Yeah.
nauseating. So
Terrible. But
I don't
yeah.
recommend it.
But that is, yeah. So that's one of the things that like one of the benefits some people see is that they stop drinking as much. They maybe eat a little healthier because they're working out all the time, and they get this community. That's the ideal circumstance.
Yeah.
I want to put this out there too, because I don't want to pretend like we're creating miracles here.
Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu is not, giving somebody a jiu-jitsu community is not an end-all be-all for horrible PTSD, mental illness. You know, like what I mean? You know,
Yeah.
I never want to come off like that's what I'm trying to sell.
Right.
But I think it's a very important thing, and I've personally met countless people who have been through our program. It's not even a program.
Yeah.
It's like who have received one of our scholarships, who have benefited from us. And most of the guys end up becoming ambassadors for us.
Yeah.
So the way it works is we have like it's structured almost similar like the military. You have your top national level guys, and then we kind of go down to usually it's on a state. Some of the bigger cities have a sort of intermediary position, which is what I fill. Because like the guy who runs Pennsylvania, it's hard enough running a giant state like Pennsylvania. I guess it's not that giant, but it's a big state, like a lot of people.
Yeah.
I can help him out by running Philly.
Right.
And then I have ambassadors that are under me. I say under me. They don't work. We're all volunteers.
Right.
But these guys are. It's mostly all veterans. But there's no rule that you have to be a veteran to be an ambassador. So if you want to be an ambassador, apply. My friend,
cool.
good friend Brian Grant. Shout out to Brian Grant. He. Seriously though, Brian is one of the hardest working human beings you'll ever meet in your entire life. I don't know when this guy sleeps. He's got like 8 jobs. He's like, and they're all like really hard jobs. But Brian is the national ambassador coordinator. So if you go on the WeDefyFoundation.org website, you can become an ambassador. Doesn't really require much of you. You can help out. You can get your gym registered as a We Defy gym, so we can send you veterans on the scholarship. You can put together things like fundraising seminars, and we do like a lot of just fun.
Cool.
Sometimes like around Veterans Day, people will just like it's so low effort. You can just be like, hey, we're gonna have an open mat on Veterans Day. $10 to get in. All this money is going to We Defy.
Yeah.
But that helps.
That's
Lisa,
awesome.
that helps so much. Last I checked, I didn't update the numbers. I didn't get the up-to-date numbers before I came on, but I think it's about $2,000 a year averages your jiu-jitsu gym costs. So that's how much it costs us to put somebody in a gym for a year. So if you can do a fundraiser and you can raise, $200, well, that's like, that's 10%.
That's helping.
Yeah, absolutely. It helps so much. And
Yeah.
and we've had so many people benefit from the program. I really believe in this charity. I'm getting paid nothing to say all this. I'm getting paid nothing to do what I do. I just really enjoy doing what I do. I found a lot of relief through jiu-jitsu. I was never in the program. I kind of found it after I had found jiu-jitsu. So cheapskates aren't paying for my membership.
Damn it.
We joke around. A lot of us were like, we can put on a white belt again, and you can just pay for my. And I will say this, not to just keep this as a We Defy ad, but if you are a gym owner and you'd like to be a participant, it costs you nothing. And it's really only going to benefit you. So I was just talking to the guys at Movement Art. They're going to become a We Defy gym.
That's great.
Because it only benefits the gym. So when we send an athlete to you, we don't ask for a discount. We're not asking for anything. We want your gym to flourish. We want to. What's it cost? We'll pay that. And so you make money as your gym. You're just getting another student basically from us. We're just flipping the bill.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. It's kind of like, why wouldn't you do it?
Yeah, it makes sense.
And I could see, like, getting back real quick to like the suicide epidemic, I could see how this community aspect could turn somebody's life around. You get out of the military, I can imagine you feel lonely and you feel like you have nobody to relate to a lot of the times. Yes. I don't know that firsthand, but I can imagine.
Yeah, you're right.
And I just feel like no matter what people say, humans, we want community. We thrive best in a community, even if some of us are a little bit resistant about being a part of a community. So, I mean, I think it's great that they're allowing these people to have this community to uplift them.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. And I will say a lot of our gyms, man, these guys do such good work. A lot of the, so the gym application kind of works like the ambassador application.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a gym, just go on, fill out the form. We'll take care of the rest. We try to make it as easy as possible. And a lot of the gyms are super cool. Like, once they're accredited We Defy gym, all we have to do is just make sure you're legit. Make sure you're not the McDojo. But it's not hard. We send somebody in your area. They go take a class, and we say, hey, he's legit.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we've had people try to tell us they're jiu-jitsu gyms.
And what are they?
I'm specifically thinking of one guy, and basically was trying to get us to like help him with these events and like pay for a bunch of stuff. It was basically trying to scam a charity.
That's terrible.
Yeah, it was stupid. I got CC'd on the email somehow.
Damn.
And
people are awful.
Yeah. But we're just gonna check you out. But so many of these gyms, they're cool because once they're accredited, they want to help because they're just good people. And they want to help, and they're like, oh, how can I help? And we have an open mat, have a seminar, have this, help us promote, the more people wear the t-shirts or whatever.
Reshare things.
Yeah, exactly. If you have a high-level competitor and they want to wear our logo, fill out the logo request form. We're very good about that. Like,
awesome.
We have some like big names. Big Dan Monasoyo is a big supporter of us, and
that's great.
He wears our stuff. After he won East Coast Trials, he came over to me and he goes, hey, can I have one of those t-shirts? And I was just like, yeah, here you go, Dan.
Whatever you want.
Yeah, shout out to Big Dan, but
I'm going to just compile all your shout outs and make that a reel.
Yeah, please do. But no, it's cool. It's a great organization. I'll stop ranting about it now. But if you want to get involved, WeDefyFoundation.org, tell you everything you need to know.
That's awesome.
Follow the socials. Riverfront, I think, last I heard, raised over $20,000.
That's amazing. Holy crap.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I sold a couple t-shirts that week. So
that's amazing.
We're basically the same. No.
Yeah.
So,
no, that's awesome. Seriously. Yeah. All right, let's wrap up. Anything else? Any other shout outs you'd like to add on?
Yeah. Shout out to my mom. No, I think we covered everything. Keep an eye out for the Jits and Giggles PDMA merch.
Black Friday.
Yeah, it's gonna be it's a cool design, and
Yeah.
sometimes like when I'm making merch, I have to do like little design here, little positioning here. This logo is so cool that we just slapped it on the shirts.
I've gotten a lot of good feedback about it.
Yeah, it's cool. So keep an eye out for that. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah.
I know I've been here for so many of these
I
recordings.
know.
And I've
It
never
was
been
due. We were just the timing. This was the best time.
This was best. This was
Yeah.
awesome. We had a lot to talk about, and I'm sure I'm gonna leave here and be like, I forgot to talk about that thing.
It's all right.
But
We can always run it back.
yeah, we could always be part 2. I want to come on with Zach next time and talk about aliens. But
Oh, that'd be fun actually.